You are listening to the Why Smart Women podcast, the podcast that helps smart women work out why we repeatedly make the wrong decisions and how to make better ones. From relationships, career choices, finances, to faux fur jackets and kale smoothies. Every moment of every day, we're making decisions. Let's make them good ones. I'm your host, Annie McCubbin, and as a woman of a certain age, I've made my own share of really bad decisions. Not my husband. I don't mean him, though. I did go through some shockers to find him. And I wish this podcast had been around to save me from myself. This podcast will give you insights into the working of your own brain, which will blow your mind. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm recording, and you are listening on this day. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Well, hello, smart women, and welcome back to the Why Smart Women podcast. Today, I am recording from the Northern Beaches in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, and it is midwinter. So in midwinter in Sydney, even though it rarely gets below 10, we all walk around like Sherman tanks with about 17 puffer jackets on, earmuffs, gloves, like we're walking through the Antarctic. So I know that there are lovely people that listen to this podcast in other areas of the world that genuinely get really, really freezing. And anyway, to you, sucked in. Because we have really short winters and then it's back to really warm. Anyway, so hello everybody, my delightful guest today, and we were saying that it was serendipitous that we are talking today because today is the day that Andrew Tate has been arrested in the United States of America. And my guest, I'm so terrified, Rachel, I'm getting, okay, Klein Dienst.
You got it. You got
Rachel,
it, Danny.
Okay, let me do it again. Okay, Rachael Klein Dienst.
That's it. That's it.
And she is my lovely guest, and we know each other because we are in a group, or a loose group of content creators who are trying to regularly fight the tsunami of disinformation that is flooding across the internet. So you would have heard me speak many times to the Girk and to Martin Bella, and Rachael is in that group. Hello, Rachael.
Oh, hi, Annie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
I'm very excited you're here. Yeah, we formed this group and now we're like super besties.
I know, really quickly, might I say.
It was like a day. I was like,
it was effortless. It was effortless.
Yeah, this is my tribe. This is my group.
This is my tribe.
So I'm not going to say where Rachael lives. You all know where I live because I'm an idiot and, let that out of the bag. I'm not going to say where Rachael lives because she has been harassed, as have I, and as has our other lovely girl. Is she a girl? How old is she? I don't know how old she. I don't know. Let's not talk age.
No, we don't want to. I don't want to go there.
Let's not go there. But it's three women, and we've all had lovely experiences with men online. It's been great. But let's start with the Andrew Tate arrest in the United States. And this is just something I'm going to read to you that Martin Bella wrote this morning when the news broke. And he said, this is from Martin Bella, domestic violence is at intolerable levels. Any level is intolerable, but it is currently at plague proportions. While I believe it has always been there, just hidden away, measures to control and eradicate this plague are struggling to make headway against the damaging influence these dogs have. And these dogs that he is referring to are Andrew and what's his name? Tristan. It's Andrew and Tristan Tate. Anyway, they're hypermasculine and cartoonish version of what a man should be. Such great use of the language, legitimizes and encourages actions that are disrespectful at the least and downright facilitative, big word, Martin, in my eyes. It is all about swagger and puffery with nothing of empathy, care and selflessness. I think that pretty much encapsulates it pretty well, don't you, Rachael?
Absolutely agree. I think
it's a long time coming, and I wonder why they were out there walking around when, the rest of the world knew that this stuff was preposterous in the first place, and how much more damage that they had done instead of holding these guys to account. We have to always remember that these gentlemen have become famous on the very platforms that we are on. That's how they, have pushed out this rhetoric, which is, I've got young boys, a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So you're right in the hot seat, aren't you?
Absolutely. This is what these boys are seeing. We have conversations about it. And this is what comes on their feed rapidly every day.
Wow. So just in case anybody has been living under a rock, Andrew Tate and his brother are pretty much, well, actually, they're not. They were at the behest of someone that was above them, but they pretty much are the front guys, especially Andrew Tate, for what you would loosely call the manosphere. And their fundamental premise is that women are dispensable. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. We're to be enslaved by them.
Yeah, that's right.
That's our job.
Yeah,
That's women.
yeah. And famously, when Louis Theroux did the interview, did you see Louis Theroux's?
I must admit, I have tried to watch it a few times.
And it's made you want to vomit?
It's a hard watch.
It is.
And I want to do it justice. So 15, 20 minutes in, and it's a hard watch.
Want to die, right?
Yeah, right.
So David, I watched it with David, my husband, and we did spend a lot of it with our hand over our mouths going, come on, guys. And I think the classic moment was one of those, was one of those English influencers who said, let's face it, the only people in the world that have any power that can actually get onto a yacht is a hot 21-year-old. So they have all the power and we have none. And it's like, contextually, their world is so small.
Oh,
and so terrifying.
There's just something in me, and I hate this side of me, but it is my nurturing side, where I feel pity, almost sorry that their lives could be like that. I'm so lucky. I've been with my husband for 25 years. I haven't.
Yep.
I've got someone, and I can see that that's the same with you, Annie, who is so supportive and so lovely, and our lives become so rich when we're so measured in our relationships, when we, push each other to be the best of ourselves. And there's so many women, especially, that I know, that don't have that, or are in relationships where they're dominated. And it's great for the men too, to have those relationships. I think if people saw it that way, we'd be in a better space. But I guess wins.
We're so up against, patriarchal structures that it's very difficult. And you sent me something this week that I thought was really interesting, and that was that we have this idea that these online abusers are sitting in damp basements, in their underpants, sort of calling for their mothers to bring them dinner while they tap out the vile vitriol online. And this woman that you had sent me was saying, no, that is an incorrect assumption. Mm-hmm. They are somebody's husband, they're somebody's grandfather, they're someone's son, and they're hidden in plain sight.
Mm. I think that's a brilliant point. And, I think we're always sort of pushing out this, that, like you said, it's someone in a basement, it's someone hidden away, but in fact, they're walking amongst us all the time. And when we think about what toxic masculinity is, I don't think we talk enough about what we think masculinity should be. And I have men, really well-intentioned men, coming to my aid when I get abused online, but their rhetoric is also coming from a violent perspective as well. Oh, don't talk about that, I'll bash them. It's always about violence. It's always pushing violence, even to help someone in distress. It's about violence. I think Australia's the best at it, which is, I'm being hyperbolic, but we're always, every answer to everything has violent backing.
And you think there is something culturally about Australia specifically?
I do. I mean, you can see it. Domestic homicides count for a third of homicides in this country. Domestic violence homicides is a third. I mean, we're hurting each other at a mass proportion. We had a story not long ago of, a woman who was raped and he got community service. I mean, this is systemic. This is deep into our culture. We have one of the high proportions of men going over to Bali, Laos, Cambodia for sex holidays. We are one of the highest in the world in doing these sorts of things.
And then the way it's reported, if we think back to that terrible thing recently.
Did you feel sick though?
I felt sick.
The whole
Do you want
story...
to describe for the listeners what that story was? Can you remember the details of it?
The young girl who had been murdered over, I think it was Thailand, from an Australian man. And she was pushed in a suitcase. There was an argument about money. This is a young girl.
She was 17, I think, wasn't she?
She was not of age, and he murdered her. And the captions on all the headlines were about how they felt sorry for him, that he felt sorry about what happened. And the focus was about his feelings, his story. You hardly heard her name. You didn't hear the parents talking. They've lost a child. When you do a deep dive into the news stories that were out there in Thailand, you'll get a different perspective.
Of course.
We didn't have those perspectives, and you can see that even at a grassroots level that, this is a shrugged off thing. Violence is a shrugged off thing.
I agree.
I grew up there. I don't think in the 80s and 90s I knew a family who wasn't struggling with domestic violence.
Fair income?
No. And in actual fact, there is a higher proportion of this happening in rural locations as well.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure, but I think that alcoholism has a direct correlation. Maybe less things to do. I know that myself, the thing 15 and 14 to do on a weekend was drink with your friends. I was 14.
I still do that.
So do I.
Get drinking with my mates on the weekend.
Get
hammered.
Maybe not good at 15 years old. But, in country towns there was nothing to do. I think there was a lot of that. Football, sport plays a huge role. We can see that in our emergency wards whenever we have...
Because you're a nurse. You're a nurse?
I'm not in the hospital anymore, but...
Where are you in nursing, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I work in community. So I look after people on the NDIS funding program, aged as well. So that's my aged care funding with supported home, keeping people in their home for as long as possible.
Right.
But I also would do anything with also private. So pretty much anything you wanted me to do in your home, I can do it to keep people in their homes longer.
Okay. Just to go back to that terrible murder of the girl and he shoved her in a suitcase. I don't read the Murdoch press, but I occasionally have the misfortune of seeing a headline in the supermarket, and it was salacious. It was girl in suitcase, and it's always they died as opposed to he killed them. He killed her. So the agency part of the relation of the media is missing.
Yeah.
And
a face. It's missing a person.
It is.
It's
definitely
a face and a person, and that person becomes a non-entity.
So it's around the depersonalizing and the anonymizing of women, and then because there was all this stuff about how lonely.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
I don't care. I don't care
if he's
lonely.
Look,
we're doing that at the moment with this loneliness epidemic. I would rather be lonely than dead.
Yeah. There's that classic statement, right? That the thing that men fear most is that women will laugh at them, and the women that and the thing that women fear most is that men will kill them.
Yeah.
And it's so right.
Quite a discrepancy there, isn't it, Annie?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, it's a
really.
nice little polarity there, isn't it? It's astonishing. But I even noticed because, I've written 2 books on critical thinking. One's called Why Smart Women Make Bad Decisions, and the other one is called Why Smart Women Buy the Lies. And I sent 2 of them down to the Gurk, and he did a post on them.
I want a signed copy now, Annie.
Yeah, you can
I think you'll have to get me a signed copy.
The problem is, and I did apologise to Mrs. Gurk, that my broken finger, I'm so, and the listeners know, I've got arthritis in my hands, which makes me feel so beautiful and nubile and young. I love it.
Yeah.
And this finger's broken, so I'm sort of incapacitated. But I was trying to sign the books, and I don't know what, it looks like a spider's crawled across the page. Anyway, the thing was, he'd done this post about it, so the books came out a couple of years ago. They were pretty successful. The first one especially. One's been translated into Chinese. Hilarious.
Right.
And one's in the United Arab Emirates. And anyway, so he had reinvigorated interest in it by doing this post. And immediately, as soon as it went up, of course, you had someone going, what about the male suicide rate, and what about the male loneliness epidemic? And Gurk, interestingly, Gurk, why don't you write a book from the male perspective? And then immediately someone said, which I really liked, why don't you write it? Why don't if you're so concerned, because writing a book's such a quick and an easy process. Yeah. And then he was like, then he was like, I'm just saying, you didn't write it, Annie did. And she said, oh, well, do you want Annie to write it for you? And it's like, as soon as the notion of the terrible imbalance in power and the result of that, which is violence on girls and women, comes up, the immediate rhetoric is, well, what about men?
Oh, always. So I put a post up a while ago, and it was about fishing. Now, I said it was a satire about my husband going fishing and I never see him again. Now, let me say, I'm a creative writer, Annie. This is a bullshit story. It's never happened. This is a total made-up story that I made up. He wouldn't know how to thread a line. Like, he is a nerd, a massive nerd. So it was pretend. It was fantasy. Everything we, see on a computer, on social media, we should look at it in that lens. It's fantasy. And anyway, it got 2 million views.
Far out. Which was you.
It got 2 million views, and I got absolutely annihilated online. Now, I found it funny. I've been putting on things up many a times, but the fact that these men felt so affronted by this funny story that he's out fishing too much. Now, can I read you some of the comments?
Please do,
Okay.
Please.
So I've written a few beauties down. So he said, one guy said, I'm sure staying home with you is the most excruciating time of his life. Oh. Shut the fuck up and just cook eggs. Maybe you don't feed him enough, inverted commas, fish.
Oh my God.
They get worse. I bet the seat in your car smells like rotting barramundi.
Oh, Rachel, oh my God.
Perhaps you smell like bait. I would love people to have a look at this video. It is so banal. There's nothing in it. Now, sometimes people have I'm a girl of the 80s, so I'm all for a bit of ribbing, right?
Yeah.
So a guy said, how many cats do you have? And I wrote back, just one, a man-eating lion. And he wrote, great answer. I'll give you that. Okay. That's okay. There's gentle ribbing. That's okay. Yeah. Another guy said, praise be Moses, split the sea with an ugly stick. What the hell do you call that? Now, I cut and pasted this and put it on every post that he put on his page.
Did you?
And he begged me to stop.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I know, right? So then, you get a sinister. I wished I could turn you into live bait. And my favourite, shut up and do the housework, and at the very least give a week, grin and bear it. And at the least once a week, grin and bear it. And maybe you could be tolerated. So, these are sorts of things that happen.
Wow.
Now, that was those things, I can take with a grain of salt. It got bad, and I went to a friend of ours, Martin, about this, who had told me to go to the police, which I ended up doing.
So she's talking about Martin Bella. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so this gentleman, and he did a pod about it. I was going to keep quiet about it, and now talking.
So Martin Bella did a pod about it?
He did. He did a post about how absolutely egregious this was.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You might have to blank some of these things out. Now, what the person did, though, is hid behind a profile picture of, it says support women. So he's looking like he's like a support women group.
Pro-women.
Pro-women. He said, I know where you live and I'm going to come and cut your clit off. It gets worse. You are marked for death. I'm going to hunt you down and rape you with a knife.
From that post? A jokey post about my husband's out fishing?
One of them was from this post. Another, he just spat out on all, the rest of the 3 posts until I blocked him and realised it was happening. It started on that post about a man going out fishing.
Tell me, what response did you have psychologically to that?
I just felt it was incredibly sad, to be honest. I just felt it was sad. I'm thick-skinned, so what a pack of dickheads. But I just felt sad that that's where we are at in a society. I feel sad that that's what my children are stepping into. I thought we'd get better as time progressed, and I don't think.
Why did you think we were going to get better? What do you think was going to happen that would influence it?
Equality, inclusion. That's my space. That's where I work. I mean, I've been an advocate for disabilities and mental health. That's where I live in my workspace. So I'm championing it on the ground.
So you sort of thought that advocacy towards inclusion, gender equality was actually going to cut across.
Yeah.
And it's in... Okay. So
sorry.
No. I'm just thinking.
Threw it on you.
No. So you're okay because you personally are thick-skinned, and I often say this to the Gurk when I get abuse. It's not that I take it personally. It's not like I go, oh, they think that. I don't care what they think about me because they don't know me. But I am upset that is out there. So it upsets me that mentality is circulating in the community.
Maybe now hearing it back, I'll give pause. I take it with a grain of salt. I'm very ADHD. My head's running. I think I grew up in a space where it was always there.
It's always there. So you're acclimatized, and we know that. We know that we become inured to things when we have exposure. It's why, if we have some sort of phobia, what they suggest is that you become, you go and expose yourself to it. Like I'm claustrophobic. I've now moved into a place with a lift.
100%.
So I now have to get in it without panicking every time or to just be exhausted. So you are inured to it, and I'm getting more inured to it. I'm getting used to the fact, although the very first time it happened, I had to get a friend to come over and block everybody because I couldn't look at it because I was so it's disturbing and obviously proportionally, well, we don't know about the proportion. When I look at a situation, if I can just take a wild left turn here onto Giselle Pellicot. And she is the woman who's in France, and her husband.
Absolute hero.
Yeah, me too. Have you seen her interviewed?
Absolute hero. I get emotional just thinking about it.
Yeah, I know. Did you see her interviewed by Sarah Ferguson on the 7:30 report? Man, she is so compassionate and beautiful.
So compelling.
Beautiful and compelling and great. Wow. So just in case, again, anybody has never heard of her, she was over a number of years, she was sedated nightly by her husband.
Yeah.
And then he would invite men to come over and rape her while she was unconscious. And this came out through a coincidence. He was caught filming upskirting a girl, and they found his computer and it all came out. And the thing that is highly distressing, and back to the notion that we started off with, that it's men in their scummy underpants sitting in damp basements and they live with their mother, is that the men that had all raped her were all ages and often had families. And there must, and you have to wonder, are there elements of that? They must hold a very, very low opinion of women, right? They must.
Oh, absolutely.
So are there red flags in the marriages of women, right, that do? So these men that are posting those things to you, we don't know they're not married, do we? We don't know they're not in relationships.
I think it's blurring the red flags. I think that we have these set of rules as women, what we should be looking for, as a stereotypical predator, and those lines are so blurred for us
What
now.
do you mean as a woman we should be looking for? What do you mean?
Well, if someone's, misogynist, or you get in a room with someone, your spider senses go up, you get out of that room. Or there's many things I think we're equipped of as women that you do on autopilot to make sure that you're safe in circumstances. I mean, you're not going to walk down a main street in the middle of the night by yourself. People don't jog at night. I mean, there's things that we do all the time in everyday life
to protect ourselves,
to protect yourself. And I think you do them without even knowing that you're doing them. I know if I'm out and talking to some guy and he gets a bit too much, as in aggressive, to back down or to laugh or to laugh it off, or to make a joke about something really quickly to divert the attention. I know we all know how to do those things. I just think that those lines are getting more and more blurred, because you're seeing, at the same time we saw the website where, God, I don't know how many millions, I think it was 60 million people were flooding this website as to how to drug your wife. That was one of the biggest stories that's hit for a long time. Now, many women advocacy places, said, well, print all the names of these men who have been visiting these websites, which, no, you've got to protect their privacy. And I'm going, well, what about, protecting us? I think that we're just getting so lost in it that you go,
oh yeah. It is definitely
exhausting.
It's exhausting and overwhelming. So let's just take it back to put it in a very, very narrow place. Let's just imagine that the guy, we're going to take him as an example, that said that to you about the barramundi on the seat. Let's just take him as an example.
Yeah.
And let's just imagine that he is married. Every chance that he could be, nothing to say he's not. And he's married and he has children. Do we think, you and I, here, talking to each other on a Sunday afternoon on this podcast, do we think there would be signs and red flags in that relationship that would give that part of him away?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. I think he hits her already. I think he's... in my head, I see him as doing this. I don't think you chameleon and you just change, I think he'd be doing those things behind closed doors to her, and she's frightened. I think that's what the story is. And I think when we talk about masculinity, and going back to the start of our conversation, that, you get these lovely, well-intentioned men who do come to your aid and they go, oh, I'll bash him, and we're sort of perpetuating violence. What we're not doing is we're not saying what masculinity is. And
what is it?
I think it is men sticking up for that when we're not there. I think it's a man saying, hey, that's not okay, that's bad behavior. I think it's men who have to help us here, because I know I would never want to feel like any of these sort of podcasts are about bashing men. I know some unbelievable, amazing
Me too.
men.
I'm married to one.
I want them to be loud. I want them to go, hey, that's bullshit. What are you saying? Repeat that to me. I've seen it, and I've been absolutely. And like, how amazing. Like, you feel that's the sort of thing we want to see, is where they go, we had all of these stories that we're talking about, and online read these men go, yeah, but what about this? No, just be as blown away as us that is absolutely preposterously awful and against, humanity. Just be outraged with us. Be outraged with us.
And push back.
And push back, saying
don't join.
Don't stop and say, well, what about this? Just stay in it and say, this is bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think whataboutism is a nightmare. Whataboutism? What about?
Nightmare.
What what about men? What about them? Okay, the two things can coexist
at the same time,
right? Men can be lonely, and women can be being murdered, and of course, as we know, male violence also extends to other men. So that's what you're saying,
That's right. We've got a correlation here too with one of the biggest killers in our country for men is suicide.
We know,
we have, and I think they're linked. I think there's something in it where.
What do you mean? What's linked?
This feeling that men don't have a sense of belonging or something. I don't know. I think there's something systemically wrong with what we're doing, because men are killing themselves at an alarming rate, and women are dying in our country every 11 days. I think it's changing, actually, that figure to be down through domestic violence. So men are killing themselves at the hands of men themselves, and we're dying at the hands of men. There has to be some correlation in it.
And I'm quite sure there is. And I mean, from a sociological point of view, how long has it been around? What are the precipitating factors in it? Because it's so easy. I often, what is my son and I watching? I know it's A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and it's fantasy, but it's set in presumably in the 15th century. And we always look at it and go, oh yeah, everything was great back then. The whole notion of everything was great in the past and things have just deteriorated, right?
Yeah.
But everything was great. And that's crap.
It's crap.
It's crap. I mean, the thing is that the patriarchy has been in control since Dot.
Yeah.
And,
well, I think it's just people who aren't learned. I mean, you just know your history. I mean, this stuff's been happening. It's in the Bible how badly women have been treated. If you believe in that, this has been happening forever. It's just that we have social media and we can see it with a sharper lens.
Yeah, that's right. So do we actually? So let's just say, let's go back to the 50s, say, right? Australian country town in the 50s, when women would get bashed and the police would just turn away because it's like, well, that's just family business. That's your marriage, right? That was
my hometown, Annie.
Right.
That was me growing up with nearly everyone I knew.
Just with the men bashing the women.
Yeah. And then, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. That's very special for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So no wonder you're sort of highly activated about it.
Uh-huh.
So do we think now is worse, or do we just think that now, to your point, that with social media, it's just we're seeing it. We now know about Andrew Tate. There would have been Andrew Tate's reach is now in the millions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
but he also has these little baby boomers that are running off his gamut, and we see it all the time. So young men who are trying to do a similar thing as him, and you only have to type in red pill in Instagram and you'll see it. So a funny story, I put a post up about me pretending that I'm in a press conference and I'm going, hi, it's been 5 days since women are running the world, right? And most of the things that I say are things that I think would be lovely. You know, it's not a dig on men. It's to say, you know, that maybe politicians, one of them was that maybe politicians need to be vetted like nurses. I'm a nurse. Every year I have to do police checks. And why aren't our politicians held to that same standard as our teachers and our police? So that was one of them. And that's sort of basic, the you know, connotation around these posts that I put out. And this post's up to 3 million now, right?
Far out, Rachel.
So anyway, my point being, I put that post on my platforms are Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. They're all very different in their demographics. TikTok, it got taken down for guideline violation for misappropriation of information.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Okay. Now I contested it. It got 7,000 views in the first 10 minutes, right? And it got pulled down for a violation of community standards. That I was saying something absolutely. This is systemic. This is what I'm saying. And you talk to other women on these platforms, and they'll say the same thing. So I was pissed off. I put so much effort into it, and I
it was really
liked
good.
it. I thought it was funny, and I was proud of it. And you know, they take me about 5 hours to edit.
I know.
There's a lot of work in the background, you know.
I know.
And I was devo, and then so I contest it, and then 48 hours later, it got put up, but it was so lagging then it didn't do well.
Yeah.
On Instagram, we're up to 30 million now in the first 2 days.
30 million?
3 million in that period of time. So 3 million, and TikTok has taken it down. Now,
Facebook, what about Facebook?
Facebook, it's up to 1 million.
Wow.
So Facebook and Instagram, those share. So I think the share is 2 million on Insta and 1 on Facebook or something like that, the whole. But anyway, they got taken down on TikTok. And so I'm pissed off, and I'm scrolling through my phone trying to contest it. And then 3 scrolls in is a young man about 25 years old. And his post is that if a woman has more than 3 body count, she is broken goods, she's a whore, she's this and she's that.
3 body count, what does that mean?
A body count means that how many people they've slept with before you. So if she slept with more than 3 women, then she's damaged goods. It was verbatim that she's damaged goods. That's allowed. That's allowed, Annie. That's allowed on there for my boys to see, but not that my girl to see. That this would be a really lovely thing if women, you know, had.
Yeah.
We see it. There's a place, I can't remember, Norway or Scandinavia, somewhere in Scandinavia, always lovely somewhere
everywhere.
In Scandinavia,
yeah,
where women have the majority in parliament.
Yeah.
And the things that are happening, their
of course.
Suicide rates are lower. You know, you just pile through these statistics that I'm not saying women are better than men. I'm saying, you know, just get them in there. But why was it taken down? Why? But it happened.
Why?
It's happened.
Why?
It's happened to me a few times, and they're always jibs on the other perspective. You know, a woman doing the same thing would be taken down in a heartbeat.
Oh no! Do not. Excuse me. Do not bark. Yo. She's winding herself up to bark because I live in an apartment. And there's a courtyard, and the courtyard opens up into a communal garden, dog garden. And there's somebody out there, and they don't belong there according to the Groodle. They shouldn't be there. It's her garden. Yo-yo, no.
Yo-yo. Oh,
it's yo-yo. Don't even think about it. Yeah, so it's just, yeah. What are we, the thing is. I don't know. I just, it's this. It's the fact that now the dog's drinking heavily and loudly from a bowl. Thanks, Yo-Yo. It's
that we have to show people what masculinity looks like. Another gentleman, I just loved this so much, and it was Dr. Vincent Hurley. He's a professor of criminology in Macquarie University. And he
yes, I know him. I know him.
He went on Q&A and he went, no, enough's enough. And I was like, oh my God, buy this Baker beer. I want to be his best friend. I want to know everything about him.
Yeah,
this
awesome.
is what it looks like.
He just called it, right? He totally just called it.
And I thought, yeah, we need more men like, but you see it sometimes in sport as well. These lovely men that, I'm not a sportsman, but he was in an interview and he said, oh, how do you feel that he was a tennis player? How do you feel that you've won, the first Grand Slam or blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, that's not right. A woman's done it twice.
Oh,
Yes.
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 Okay, so what we're talking about is trying to spread the message so that we can puncture the narrative, because the narrative is so strong, isn't it? And it does. It really concerns me that I walk past a male, and it's the same as you. I know so many lovely men, like really lovely men, but I walk past men in the street. Sometimes I go, I wonder if you're one of the ones that just says terrible things online.
Never know.
You'll never know, right? It's so awful. And then there's the whole, I often talk to Martin Bella about this, about the fact that as soon as somebody says something vile to me online, they've got a locked profile.
All the time. Absolutely all the time. All the time. Because I'm a busybody. I like to know who this person is. What do they do? Do they have children? Sometimes I see their profile picture and they're, cuddling their daughter. That hurts me. It hurts me in my heart.
Yeah.
Because you're showing that girl what she should love. That hurts me. Sometimes, they have a picture of a car, but every time their picture is locked. So not only are they vile and, saying these things which we talked about, I went to the police about those last few.
And what happened? What did they say?
Nothing.
Right. Great. Terrific.
So they said, funnily, Martin did more investigation on that, Martin Bella, than the police. But I had rang there's a hotline that you can ring, which is quite excellent. It's the Federal Police for cyber.
Oh, yeah.
And I rang them first because, again, Martin said, why aren't you going, this is not okay. And I sort of said, oh, whatever. I don't know why. I think, again, we're
inured.
We're inured. And so anyway, I did, and I fronted up. And the gentleman that I spoke to, the police officer down there, he was good. He said, oh, look, all we can do, and this is paraphrasing, but very close to the point. He said, all we can do is take all the information down in case something happens. And that is really what is the story. We have to
We're going to take the information down and wait until somebody gets hurt.
Just so that it's there and in case this happens. There's not much we can, he texted it to me. It's not much in the end. It's not much we can do, but because, we can't find these things. We could. You can find an IP address, whatever. Maybe they don't want to.
They don't want to.
I don't know.
Is it because legally it's just really blurry?
I don't know, but that was the story. And again, I wrote down a few statistics. There's 77% of women that die by domestic violence. There's 70% of the men who have killed these women have been in trouble with the police. For domestic violence. Support.
Hang on, Rachel. Yeah. No barking. Ryder, yo-yo. No barking. Naughty. Sorry. Can you give me those stats again?
Yeah, it said 77% of men so the women who have died by domestic violence, 77% of the perpetrators of that violence, the people who have killed these women, have been in trouble with the law before for domestic violence.
Yes, they've got priors on it.
77% have priors on it. So we know that this is happening.
David and I did, because we've been involved in communication consulting to a lot of companies, and we did some consulting to a public, was it private or public? Hume.
Hume Housing.
Yeah.
Public housing.
Public housing. And they obviously deal in emergency housing. And they was talking to one of the women there, and she was saying that they generally have to rehouse a woman who has left an abusive partner 7 times. 7 times they go back. And then you've got people going, well, That's just really stupid, isn't it? Because, why doesn't she just stay away? Which, of course, completely misses the unbelievable complexity of domestic violence.
Women homelessness is rife in our
Yeah,
country.
rife.
And this is a space where I live as well. I used to run an Aboriginal health centre a few years back, right in the belly of COVID, and we had women, sleeping under bridges. So women, and there's a few reasons for it, is because they're stayed-home mums from the old sort of system where you have no skills. And then these men end up going elsewhere and being with younger women, and then they're 50, 60 without any skills and can't find work.
And that is the highest, tell me if
yeah.
I'm wrong, but the highest proportion of homelessness in women is in that demographic,
women.
isn't it?
Yeah,
50s
yeah,
to 60s,
yeah. And then, they've no money, no housing. But we have a housing crisis in Australia, in Australia overall as well. I have aged people at the moment, right now, living in hotels, aged 80-year-olds living in hotels because they can't find a home in this town. So they've put up in emergency accommodation. I see this quite a lot in what I do. Finding housing for the elderly. We don't look after our elderly too.
No, we do not.
A story from another day.
That is a story from another day.
A lot about that, yeah.
I just want to alert you to the fact that David did a TEDx talk. Yeah, David. Do you want to just briefly say what your TEDx talk was about? Come nice and close to the microphone.
Hey, Rachel.
Oh, hi, David. Apparently you're one of the good guys.
Yes, he's one of the good guys.
Well,
Yes, you're one of the good guys.
I think it's only fair that I don't claim that until the whole story's over, Yeah. So, look, I did a TED talk.
You're going to have to do this.
I'll do it as quick as I can.
Yep.
The theme was the other AI, not artificial intelligence, but artificial integrity. When someone claims that that they are there to help you, when actually everything that they're doing is to serve themselves. And what I did was I described a common set of psychological actions that people play in order to take control of people. And the first message is your world is a dangerous place, right? You can't trust anybody, right? Your family aren't helping you. You're not helping yourself. It's that kind of destabilizing message. And then that is often followed with, but I can help you. I'm the one who can, right?
Yeah.
So it's like to reassure, give me control of everything and I will take care of you. And then the third message is is basically to sign them up. But in order to do that, you have to do exactly what I say. And what I was saying was that this is a common template that people use to win power over people. Mm-hmm. And my suggestion was, I certainly didn't say that this was easy, but the way to combat that was to deconstruct the narrative, challenge the narrative.
Which is what we've just talked about, is challenging the narrative, which is what Rachel tries to do. Yeah. We all try and do it. It's damn difficult, though, isn't it?
Damn difficult. And look, I would love it if you had a look at the talk and
I will.
And let me know if you think that my my suggestion is in any way useful. Mm-hmm. I mean, it basically goes that if someone says to you, your world is a dangerous place and tries to destabilize you, that, and I know this is very difficult to do in isolation. So actually the major advice is don't do this on your own.
Report.
But if you are communicating with somebody who's saying that, then the response might be, actually, I'm not convinced. I'm not actually convinced that my world is a dangerous place. So the onus isn't on me to somehow make sense of it. It's just saying, no, look, let's use more words than necessary. Yeah, well, you challenge,
but not in an inflammatory way.
Not in an inflammatory way.
It's not safe to do that, unfortunately.
Well, this is interesting because really, as a nurse, I think that would be a brilliant tool, because I see that sort of coercion not only in a husband and wife duo. I see that especially in the elderly community with children. Children are coercively controlling a narrative to block out other siblings. Yep. We're sometimes looking at money that's coming in when these people go.
100%.
So, financial abuse is absolutely, I see it so much, it's not funny, but also, to just control I've seen it in my own life.
Yeah.
So I think when we think of coercive control, we think of it as a husband and wife, but in fact, it is
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere,
Yeah.
and you see it. So then, as a health professional or someone who can, look into that or have a door in because you're in the home, those sorts of tools, David, would be clever training.
Yeah. Well, I would love you to have a look at it. It was a couple of years ago. And
He's got a beard in it that makes him look sort of a little bit like Santa.
Oh, I've got it. Okay.
I've gone a bit ZZ Top.
It's a bit ZZ Top. Okay.
I have done a post about my embarrassing crush on Santa.
Okay.
I can't go in the supermarkets when it's Christmas
because of that.
I want to kiss Santa. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I just have to premise that.
Yeah. Don't go there. Stay away from my husband, Rachel.
I don't. The intention wasn't to be Santa because
ZZ Top.
Look, there is a moment in the piece where I actually address the brotherhood and say, look, you can have power over people this way, and I know because what I've just described is what you do. If you look,
it's exactly what you were saying earlier, right, Rachel?
Yeah.
It's up to men to say, hang on.
Yeah,
don't say that,
I think
right?
if you're quiet, you're complicit. Let's
Yeah.
put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
I like that.
But part of the gag was I don't speak for all men, and I certainly don't speak for all men with beards, because I do know that some men with beards do kind of subscribe to some unhelpful narratives and that are not questioned. And so, yeah, I guess that's why I did that.
Anyway,
clever.
interesting, David.
Nice
so thank
chat.
you for that.
You.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for coming onto the podcast briefly.
Oh,
Right.
you're so cute.
All right, so I think probably that does us for today because we've deep dived into many areas, and I think the fact that today was the day that Andrew Tate found himself. I saw the video. I've just got to say this. Did you see the video of him being arrested? What was he wearing?
I don't know, but I didn't notice, but I noticed his face and he was incredibly smug.
So smug.
So smug.
So I think he's just had smug now. He's probably had injections, so he just can't do anything else with his face. But I've got to ask one question. Then there was a guy in a gold jacket that seemed to be doing something to him. Who was that?
I don't know.
I want to know who that guy in the gold jacket was.
What was that about?
And he was doing something.
He's like a pimp. He looks like a pimp.
He did look like a pimp, and he seemed to be doing something to Andrew Tate's neck or something. And I'm like, well, did they set him up?
Security or something.
But in a gold jacket, why? I need answers to these questions.
It's all theatrics, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Anyway, what we have to hope is that somehow Trump doesn't intervene and he is extradited to Great Britain.
There's a possibility.
There's a possibility.
I mean, there's stranger things have happened.
Yes. Now, don't go away. I'm just going to say goodbye to the listeners and then I'll come back. So don't go away. Well, listeners, I hope you enjoyed that lovely chat. I know there's some difficult areas that we touched on. And I say to you, if you are in a position where you find yourself feeling frightened, and whether it's in a car park, whether it's in your own home, please reach out for support. And for everybody, as always, stay safe, stay well, keep your critical thinking hats on. See you later. Bye. Thanks for tuning into Why Smart Women with me, Annie McCubbin. I hope today's episode has ignited your curiosity and left you feeling inspired by my anti-motivational style. Join me next time as we continue to unravel the fascinating layers of our brains and develop ways to sort out the fact from the fiction and the over 6,000 thoughts we have in the course of every day. Remember, intelligence isn't enough. You can be as smart as paint, but it's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. And in all this talk of whether or not you can trust your gut, if you ever feel unsafe, whether it's in the street, at work, in a car park, in a bar, or in your own home, please respect that gut feeling. Staying safe needs to be our primary objective. We can build better lives, but we have to stay safe to do that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast and share it with your fellow smart women and allies. Together, we're hopefully reshaping the narrative around women and making better decisions. So until next time, stay sharp, stay savvy, and keep your critical thinking hat shiny. This is Annie McCubbin signing off from Why Smart Women. See you later. This episode was produced by Harrison Hess. It was executive produced and written by me, Annie McCubbin.